Donald Trump's urges are so inherently authoritarian that he can't even interact with a liberal ally without throwing them under the bus. He can't even talk about the Constitution without wanting to write over it or terminate it altogether, and he can't talk about an election or a court case or any of our institutions without wanting to undermine them. Now, the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, visited the United States today and met with both presidential candidates, Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris, and he met with President Biden. So don't mistake this as him cozying up to Donald Trump. He met with all of the emerging candidates and the president to make sure that he has all of his bases covered as we enter this next stage of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now, this is a topic that I care a lot about. I have friends over in Kyiv, so I want to debunk what Donald Trump says word for word and explain why his peace plan is terrible, explain why him ceding Ukrainian land could lead to World War III, and much, much more. Let's begin with this clip of Trump saying that Putin wants a fair transaction. Watch.
He wants it to end, and he wants it to end as quickly as possible. He wants a fair transaction to take place, and I think, right now I'm campaigning, so right now I don't have much to do with it other than we're doing very well in terms of the campaign, and I've been saying that I believe if I win, we're going to have a very fair and I think actually rather rapid deal. It should stop. And the president wants it to stop, and I'm sure President Putin wants it to stop. And that's a good combination. So we want to have a fair deal for everybody.
This guy cannot be serious. This makes me sick to my stomach. He said, quote, President Putin wants it to stop. Let me break down exactly what is wrong with that. Putin was the one who waged this war unilaterally on a neighboring country that was smaller. Putin went in and he said, we'll be to Kyiv in 2 to 3 days. That was 2.5 years ago. And now that Putin has dug himself a hole too big for him to climb out of, Donald Trump is trying to help him out of this hole. And I just want to highlight Zelensky's face through all of this. He really wants this to end. His eyes look sort of dead while he's standing next to Trump, and that goes in stark contrast with the way that him and VP Harris bonded in some of these photos. The reason why is because both of these leaders right here have liberal ideals. They want to move the world towards a more liberal future, whereas Donald Trump only flirts with world leaders like Viktor Orban, Vladimir Putin. He cozies up to Kim Jong-un, gets along with Xi Jinping, but somehow Justin Trudeau is a nasty person who is low IQ. There are reports that he was nasty to Angela Merkel over the phone. She was the Chancellor of Germany. So Trump has these, going back to my original point, he has these authoritarian urges to undermine our allies. And let me highlight this one more time. That is like Hitler invading Poland and then the US president coming out and saying, I'm sure Hitler wants it all to stop. No, the person who is waging this war unilaterally doesn't want it to stop. They want to fool the rest of the world, and the fact that the American president is falling for that while standing next to Zelensky is terrifying. Trump should be able to unequivocally say, I'm about to play the next clip, but Trump should be able to unequivocally say that Ukraine will not cede any land, that Putin needs to stop this war, and that we cannot set the precedent that countries can just steal land from their next door neighbor. Xi Jinping is going to look at this and be like, hey, if Putin can just take land from Ukraine, why can't I take land from Taiwan, therefore emboldening dictators across the globe? Now, this is Trump responding to Zelensky's invitation to visit Ukraine.
You envision is fair?
Well, it's too early to say that. I mean, I have my own ideas, and I'm sure the president definitely has his own ideas, but it has to be fair.
This war shouldn't be started, and I think that the problem that Putin killed so many people, and of course we need to do everything to pressure him to stop this war, and he's on our territory. That is the most important to understand. He's on our territory, and how to stop the war, to pressure him as we can, as we can, we have to do it.
And do you think the U.S. is the best?
The U.S. is the leader. U.S. is the leader of support. U.S. is the leader in the world, and of course we value the support of the United States. We're thankful to the United States people of America, and of course we understand that United States can be the leader through any negotiation. You know that we have the peace summit, and we want to organize the second one, and we count on this.
I know you're both in a rush. Last question. Will there be another meeting in the near future between you?
Could very well happen, but I think the president said it the best. This is a war that should have never happened. It should have never happened, and it wouldn't have happened It's a shame, but this is a war that should have never happened.
There's more to the clip, but the way Donald Trump flipped Zelensky's genuine needs into a political talking point like that is absolutely disgusting. Also, Zelensky makes a great point here. Putin is on their territory. And I don't know, is this registering in Trump's brain? Can anything register in Trump's brain? I mean, I think part of the reason Putin is saying this is because he's trying to tap into the Donald Trump MAGA audience and explain to them the situation that he's in. And also, I think it's sort of a plea to Trump. He's trying to explain the situation to Trump. Trump leaked this message that Zelensky sent him yesterday, and he said, I hope we can come to an understanding. So he's trying to explain the situation that we're in, and Trump's total disdain is just infuriating.
It should have never happened. It should have never happened, and it wouldn't have happened. It's a shame, but this is a war that should have never happened, and we'll get it solved. It's a complicated puzzle, very complicated puzzle, but we'll get it solved, and people get on with their lives. Too many people dead.
This is just insane rhetoric. It's not that complicated. Putin has to get off of Ukrainian territory. Zelensky is absolutely regretting this, and Donald Trump can't even say unequivocally, Putin has to get off their land. He says it's too complicated. There will have to be concessions on both sides.
Too many beautiful cities. I've seen those cities. They're so beautiful, and they're, I don't know how you can ever rebuild them the way they were. It's not possible.
You have to come, by the way, to see our city.
I will. It's a beautiful country, beautiful weather, beautiful everything. But we have to get this over with.
Yeah.
But it's a war, and the president agrees. This is a war that should have never happened.
Beautiful everything, Donald Trump says. Let me just poke apart a few problems with Donald Trump's peace plan. He says that both sides will have to make concessions, implying that Ukraine will have to give up some of the land that Russia has already taken. Number one, that is creating incentives for world leaders to grab land in the future. Hey, if I grab 50% of this country, maybe America will let me keep 20% of it. Secondly, if you look at the historical strategy of Russia, they start a war, pause it when it serves their interests and when it looks good, and then reignites that war down the road when it's convenient for them. So, in 2014, they invaded Crimea, paused it, reignited it in 2022. They could very well pause this war with the land they've taken and then reignite the war 8 years down the road, no matter who is the president. So, Donald Trump's plan to negotiate a peace deal is only creating the incentive structure for dictatorial leaders to grab more land in the future. I say this all the time, but Donald Trump emboldens authoritarian rhetoric not only in the United States with the groups like the Proud Boys, but also abroad. Why is he always cozying up to people like Viktor Orban, who genuinely stripped the liberal democracy from his country? In fact, Project 2025 is basically a soft copy of Viktor Orban's model, the way that he put a ton of loyalists in the institutions, the way that he attacked the media, stripped independence from all of these institutions. That is exactly what Trump wants to do, and you can see the pain on Zelensky's face while Trump is talking. There are a few moments where Zelensky looks over, takes a deep breath, and just can't understand what he's hearing. And let me say, Zelensky speaks in imperfect English, which is fine, but he still makes a lot more sense than Donald Trump, who grew up in America. Give me a break. I love Zelensky. He's a very genuine person, and I'm glad that he is trying to reach out to world leaders. I'm glad that he met with Harris and Biden today. Not so glad about the Trump one, but I understand why he did it. There's a 50% chance Trump gets back into office. Trump needs to hear Zelensky's perspective. If you enjoyed this video, if you appreciate what I do, drop a like, drop a blue heart, hit that subscribe button. Have a great rest of your day yourself, and peace out.